I don't know if you've seen or not, but Helen of Troy is causing some controversy again. Seems to be a thing with her.
Yeah, I think no matter who you pick, you're gonna have a controversy. Even if you pick Sydney Sweeney as Helen of Troy for whatever reason, people would be mad about it somewhere.
Well, they're mad because Lupita Nyong'o is playing Helen of Troy, and I guess Clytemnestra as well. And I don't know, who knows what Christopher Nolan's up to with this new Odyssey movie. I kind of assume it's going to be just a big action movie for the most part, with a story that has transcended cultures and is a classic in part because people who are not still living in ancient Greece still respond to it, which you might say is an argument that maybe it shouldn't be limited to one exact culture. But it is interesting that your Matt Walsh's and your Elon Musk's of the world. I have a quote from Elon about this. He says,
good.
Chris Nolan is pissing on Homer's grave, disgraceful, and grossly insulting the Greek people. Shame on him.
Did Elon ever have a problem with like the 2004 Troy? Just sort of like the other half of this story.
I think
there was a Scottish guy who played like Agamemnon or something.
Brian Cox.
That's pretty,
Mr.
Yeah, and he didn't bloody turn down the accent for the whole fight. And it's like, wow, okay, I didn't think they talk like that in Greece either.
Yeah, that one it kind of followed the old Hollywood epic rule of, for some reason, everybody just has an English accent across.
Everybody's British.
Yeah, across
the ancient world.
Yes, if it didn't take place in 1980 or later, everybody's English,
including Cleopatra.
I just rewatched Troy the other day. We've talked about it before. I don't know if that's a good movie exactly, but I kind of like it. I think it's fun. I enjoy watching it.
It holds up.
Yeah. It's like the spectacle of it is fun. Someone like Brian Cox just being a total asshole as Agamemnon. I mean, that's good. That's fun to watch. He's a great screen presence, and he's not Greek. But let me throw this at you, because the thing that even Elon seems to be missing, the entire discourse seems to be missing, is I don't think either of these movies, that whether it's Troy or the new Christopher Nolan adaptation of the Odyssey, I don't know if there's a single Greek person in any of these casts.
Yeah. Actually, it's a good point. Yeah, isn't that? I mean, that should be a problem, right?
Well,
or is that not a problem?
No, it's apparently not a problem. And in fact,
depending on who you ask,
all the people mad about the casting of the Nolan movie seem to be fine. They sort of say like Troy did it the right way, and I guess if it's authenticity that we're mad about, I would imagine that, yeah, you're right. Brian Cox and then Brendan Gleeson is his brother. What's his name? What's Agamemnon's brother's name? I can't remember off the top of my head. But then you got like in Troy, Peter O'Toole is Priam, and
right,
and it's like these very European, Irish sort of. There's one guy I can't.
Very anglicized the actors in those films.
Yeah, right. And Priam's got this I don't know, council, or he's a general or something. And I was watching the movie. I was talking to my wife about it as we were watching, because there's this old guy who's sort of counsel to Priam in these scenes where they're out on the beach where the fighting is happening. And I'm looking at this old guy, and I tell my wife, this guy shouldn't be in the sun. This guy's complexion, he can't be out here. This take is a little too long. He's burning by the end of the take. I mean, my God, this guy's so Irish.
The actor's like, can I get some freaking sunblock over here? This is the fourth take.
Yeah.
I've been on this beach for an hour.
Yeah, right. And, just as a little note, that is as inaccurate, I think, as an African descended person being in Greece. Or I guess technically the Trojan War is like, what, Turkey, technically today.
Yeah.
So neither of those are regionally appropriate. And I guess in the case of Troy, I think it works because, again, like I'm saying, these stories are foundational to Western culture, the Western canon, because people they respond to them. And I feel like you could make the case that it's actually an enduring part of their power that they don't have to be limited to one ethnicity. But if we're mad about that ethnicity, shouldn't Elon be saying every goddamn person in this movie better be Greek?
Yeah. As a South African living in America, shouldn't he be like, well, it's sort of the beauty of multiculturalism. I also have a problem with blue-eyed, blonde-haired Brad Pitt being Achilles. I mean, have you ever seen a Greek person with blue-eyed, blonde hair, Tom? You ever seen that?
No, and I mean, I'm
Yeah,
fine
me
with that.
neither. And I mean, it's a little weird.
He's supposed to be the most, beautiful warrior ever. So I guess to me, I'm like, okay, we're taking today's idea of a beautiful man and we're putting that into the role. We're sort of putting what we think of today as the way to tell this story onto this ancient story, as opposed to it being this really Greek, hairy interpretation of the whole thing. And that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And what Christopher Nolan is doing also, I mean, first of all, I'm not going to cry about casting in a Christopher Nolan movie because I'm an adult and I have self-respect. But if I were to be mad, I don't think that's the thing I'd be mad about.
Yeah, that's not a thing I would choose to spend my energy on being mad about. But I do have a hot take on all this, which is I've been following this whole controversy even before we learned that Helen of Troy was not appropriate according to certain, people. But yeah, I have a hot take on this, which is that the armor in this movie sucks. It looks like it was all 3D printed. It looks plastic as fuck. So who cares what the ethnicity of anyone is? There's obviously no dedication to authenticity in any of this film. Like I've sort of gotten into the weeds here, Tom, with like the real nerds about, Bronze Age Greece had no helmets like this. That's a Roman helmet.
And the ships are Viking ships. I've been
ships
told.
are like Nordic, like Viking ships, not Greek, not appropriate for the time, not triremes and other types of ships that they would have had. So, anyways, if you're really going to get into the nitty gritty of this, you gotta fault Nolan on that kind of stuff. Where it's like, buddy, you had a chance to make like a really cool period piece here, like a Darren Aronofsky like level of dedication, to the time period. But Nolan's not that kind of director, so none of this surprises me. And Helen of Troy looks beautiful in this movie.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that anybody. I mean, how much authenticity is the Odyssey really owed? Because really, it's a story that has a Cyclops and these gods and monsters.
Yeah, and also too, to make a finer point on that, it's sort of like is Elon reading it in the archaic like Attic Greek, or is he reading it in English? and if so, I assume that he's not reading it correctly and should therefore apologize to Homer.
Yeah, right. Homer, the blind man Homer, who really cared about skin color.
Yeah, Homer, who famously we don't even know if was a real person, would be very mad about this.
I wonder where that comes from, this idea of him being blind, the blind poet.
Why did he hear he's blind? He's supposed to be blind?
That's part of the myth of Homer. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, because all these stories, basically, to really think about it in a way that Elon probably isn't, is it wasn't one dude who was thinking about, white culture when he wrote down this story. It was these were stories that were passed down. They rhymed. They had a structure because it's easier to remember, And so like that's how it goes from person to person to person. And they're cultural stories. And it's not like that's even limited to Homer because in other ancient Greek drama there are all these references to the Trojan War. There probably were other depictions of these stories. These are just the ones that we have today.
Yeah, and there's like all kinds of inconsistencies with details in between all of these like histories or plays or whatever that were contemporarily written in ancient Greece. It's sort of like, oh, this play says that there were like 10,000 Trojans. This one over here says that there were 1 million Trojans. And it's like, okay, one of you guys is lying. But at the same time, the Greek people didn't have a problem with that because they were just like, oh, it's just sort of assumed that it's like a big number.
Yeah,
that means that there was a lot of people, which means this is a big event. This whole thing was a big deal.
Yes.
So it's sort of like the whole thing is meant to be interpretive in a way.
Yeah, right. So authentic to what? I don't feel like we have an answer. And you're correct also to say, has Elon read the Odyssey? Has he read the Iliad? Does he have thoughts?
Has he read it even in English? Never mind in Greek, where you actually have to, there's more nuance. This word doesn't just mean one thing; it means several things. It's an entendre, it's a pun, it's a it's wordplay. Like he wouldn't pick up on any of that unless he knew Greek. So I guess he should probably do that in between ODing on ketamine and playing having other people play Call of Duty for him.
Yeah, well,
if he's got any free time,
And, to go back to the first thought I had here as I was putting together some notes for this episode was maybe it's also an enduring part of the story that Helen of Troy still has everybody fighting each other kind of for no reason, and it's not really our fight.
That's
but
true.
But we're happy to jump in no matter what.
There's still a war going on over, Helen of Troy, what she looked like, how beautiful she was. everything. Nobody
Yeah.
can agree on any. That poor woman, if she was even real,
The face
The
that
amount of-
launched 1,000 shit posts.
yeah, at least.
To listen to the rest of this episode, you will have to become a premium subscriber at y2kshow.substack.com. If you do that, you'll get to listen not just to the rest of this bonus episode, but also every episode from our backlog. We keep our most recent episodes free on all podcast apps, but if you subscribe at y2kshow.substack.com, you will get a separate RSS feed where you get everything we've ever done, including these bonus episodes and every episode that goes behind the paywall, because it is now old. But, well, old is maybe the wrong word. Once it becomes a classic, vintage, cool episode. You also can be vintage and cool and not old, just like all the other subscribers at y2kshow.substack.com. Head over there right now, subscribe for just $5 a month or $30 for the whole year, and you can listen to this and lots of cool stuff. And you, yourself, will be paying to become cool as well. That's y2kshow.substack.com.